In the world of the internet, we tend to get used to a lot of very useful things actually being free. For instance, most of us have a Gmail account from Google, which is free, with a substantial amount of storage available for all of our messages up in the cloud somewhere where Google maintains them. We get used to doing Google searches for free, and we even take that for granted that Google searches are free. But it's an extremely valuable service that we get for free. We are used to having cloud storage of data available to us for free. I have a 250 megabyte or 1 gigabyte approximately Dropbox account, which is a place where I store backups and various articles and things that I want to keep in the cloud. You are probably familiar also with a service called Google Drive from Google, which not only stores the data in the cloud, but maintains a way to work with that data directly in the cloud using Google Documents and Google Spreadsheets version, Google Sheets, and Google the PowerPoint version that Google provides, etc., and being able to share your Google Drive data with other users. So there's an awful lot of things about the internet, the cloud, both computation, processing, such as Google searches, and storage, such as Dropbox or Google Drive, that we get used to having. In the world of WebGIS, that those capabilities are somewhat more limited, and we have not had to think about those limitations or those issues yet, because we all have the privilege by being members of the college community. We all have access to ArcGIS, ArcGIS Online, and certain tools and web tools and software and web storage that comes along with the campus license to Esri, which you all pay for to some extent, and to some small amount. For a person who is not connected to one of these magical places called a university, where we get software and licensing pretty much for free, there are things that may end up having a cost to a user when using WebGIS. And the three things that have cost are: one, data storage in the cloud. It is possible to store our own data in the cloud, and I have demonstrated that, and you've probably tried that a couple of times, putting one of your own spatial data sets in the cloud so that it can become part of a web map for you or for anybody else. Well, that is often something that has a cost or a value in WebGIS. Another way that providers of WebGIS services pay for their expenses and make a profit is by charging for computation. So if I were interested in geocoding addresses or doing some spatial data analysis, that would I would need to have a license or pay a fee, either by the day or by the computational unit, whatever that might be. So I'd have to pay for that. And a third thing that has a cost that has to be considered by someone looking to use WebGIS is the ability to manage users and maps and establish privileges. As you saw in the ArcGIS Online management video, it is possible inside of a well-licensed, well-supported, well-funded, so to speak, WebGIS system to have users that can only see certain maps, have certain maps that are public, have maps that are only available to their authors, etc. So giving users and privileges and putting restrictions on maps and data sets is usually something that is regulated and is only available to people who have paid for their WebGIS service in some way. So far in this course, we have been working with some software which is totally free to everybody, primarily through Google, and we have worked with some software, the ArcGIS family of software, which we have cloud storage, we have the ability to do some computation, and we have the ability I have the ability actually to control users and the distribution of maps, because our campus owns a license which campus paid for, and the State University of New York also paid even more for. So having those licenses available makes these things free to us now, but we should never forget that these things actually do have some actual cost. And if I were to try to store way too many data sets in the cloud, even using my campus license, eventually I'd reach a limit and I would have to find some way to pay more money or get more credits, as they call money in the internet world. So there are things that have a cost in WebGIS. I'm going to show you some other software that's an alternative to ArcGIS Online, and show it and give it pluses and minuses. Minuses primarily that it does have a cost, and pluses that it's accessible even for somebody who doesn't have a campus connection. And I'll do that in the next video.